Now that we've done the dissection, we can see that the inside of the brain has a lot of other structures. One thing to note is that on the superficial surface of the brain, you'll notice that the surface is brown or gray in color. And we call this gray matter. And the reason it is this color is because it's mainly made up of neuron cell bodies. However, when you look on the inside of the brain, deep, you'll notice that some of the tissue has a whiter color, and we call this white matter. And this is because these are myelinated axons of those nerve fibers. So typically in the brain, we see that the gray matter is superficial and the white matter is deep. And that's also true in the cerebellum, where the gray matter is superficial and the white matter is deep. Another thing that we can see is that inside the brain there are hollow spaces. These are called ventricles. This space here is called the lateral ventricle. There are two of them in each cerebral hemisphere. This is the left lateral ventricle, and the right hemisphere has a right lateral ventricle. The ventricles contain cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid circulates through the brain from the lateral ventricles to the third ventricle. The third ventricle is something that you can't see in this particular dissection because it's located on the midline, and since we cut through the midline, we can't see it, but would be roughly about here where the thalamus is located. The third ventricle then circulates that cerebrospinal fluid through a structure called the cerebral aqueduct here, which is a thin, narrow space through the midbrain. And the cerebral aqueduct then circulates the cerebrospinal fluid into the fourth ventricle here, located between the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata.